KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. 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 Follow the leader.
Last night I cried, tossed and turned. Woke up with dry eyes, my mind was racing, feet were pacing. Lord help me, please tell me what I have gotten into. Ran my 3 miles to clear my mind. It always helps me out. It's my therapy when I'm losing it, which is usually, hey. I'm on an emotional roller coaster. Loving you ain't nothing healthy. Loving you was never good for me. But
welcome in to hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Is that Vivian Green? Emotional roller coaster. I remember this. What was this, like 99, 2000? You know, I don't know why I always jump out with the year. I guess because for me, music 2003. Okay, I was close, somewhere around there. But doesn't it, music, when you hear certain stuff, it takes you back to that period, whatever was going on in your life, good, bad, or indifferent, especially stuff like when I was a kid. But I immediately know, like, what I was into, what I was wearing, what I felt like, if that was a song that was like my jam or my cry song, whatever the case may be. I feel that. I really
100%.
love music.
I agree with you 100%. I was watching this video on YouTube, and I guess it was a compilation of artists. I forgot what podcast they were on, but it was Snoop Dogg's. It was Snoop Dogg's little thing, and it was just a compilation of him asking the artists, you know, if you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 albums are you bringing with you, right? And you know, it was dope. It was dope seeing, you know, all the artists and, you know, share their top 3, and it had me thinking, you know what I'm saying, what my top 3 were.
What would they be?
And, you know, it made me think about, you know, certain years and, you know, certain albums and how it impacted me. For me, it's going to be Michael Jackson, Bad. Okay. It's going to be TLC, Crazy, Sexy, Cool. And it's going to be Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap.
That's a nice list. I like that.
And it's crazy because, you know, I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. I'm a huge Pac fan. I'm a huge Biggie fan. But it's something about, I think, those 3 albums, when I look at my timeline of my fandom of music, you know, Michael Jackson was probably like one of the earliest things for me, right? Mm-hmm. Michael Jackson is who got me into music, right? And then TLC, Crazy, Sexy, Cool, that kind of took me away from the legends of the 80s, so to speak. That kind of gave me that introduction to 90s R&B. TLC, plus I had a crush on T-Boz, you know what I'm saying? And then Nipsey Hussle, man,
different, right?
Dude was around the corner, man. You know what I'm saying? He represented the Crenshaw district, represented LA. He represented my generation, LA. He repped LA hard. West Coast hip hop, man. I felt like I understood everything he spoke about, all the way from his first mixtapes all the way to Victory Lap. So Victory
That's
Lap
rare
is
that you get that connection with an artist. When you do, like, you know, like sit and like it down. I'm going to tell you that I always hate those type of questions. I never have an answer. One, because
understood.
I have a hard time narrowing things down and stuff like that. It's hard for me. It might change depending upon the day. You know, there could be a section, there's like some artists, but like I don't think I could do it. And even if I gave you 3, I don't think that it necessarily would be a true representation.
I think the best question is, think about your life and what were the albums that impacted you so much.
I mean, okay.
It could be a lot of them, but I'm sure.
I mean, it is a lot. No, there are. I mean, like if I was to start with probably Thriller.
Okay.
Right? Definitely New Edition. The first album is New Edition.
Okay.
So that's one.
Okay.
With that.
We're getting somewhere. See, look, it ain't
I
as
know,
hard as you thought.
but it would change. And then probably Janet Jackson Control.
Okay.
But there's other stuff that I would want in there for other reasons because, like, there's no hip-hop in there. So that, like, picking those albums represents a very different period of my life, and it represents the beginning, and it shapes me, and it's important. But the impact of hip-hop on my life, and probably, some albums in the 90s that I'm not thinking of, probably changed my world too. So again, I could never have three.
But see, you didn't name the hip-hop album, though.
Right, I because you said period of our life, so I just started with early, and this is why I said I would never have a list because it would change, because to me, this is not an accurate list. This is an accurate list of early Jill, you know what I mean? Of Jill. So everything that I named came out before like 84, 85 below. That's a very different life. That's a very different person with no life experiences, but it shaped a lot, I don't know. It's a weird mix. Shout out to Shannon Thompson in the chat. She said Little Uzi Vert got 16 carats. And that's the value of what's in his mouth. Twinkle, twinkle. I'm telling you, this is another question I have. And, obviously I can only speak for myself in this. And I even feel this way with grills or whatever. When people have permanent grills, I'm not talking about the pop-outs that you remove. Do you want to kiss someone with jewelry in their mouth? Do you? I feel like you'd come across that metal taste or something like that. Like, it just wouldn't work for me. I feel like it would be off.
Have you ever had a tongue ring?
I did. I had a tongue ring for years.
So anybody that you kissed with a tongue ring, did they ever have anything to say about?
Some people had comment, but you don't know if they're commenting because it's a conversation piece or, whatever, like, oh, it tastes like me. But I think about even with myself, like, it took me the only reason why I took my tongue ring, here's the thing, I worked in corporate with a tongue ring. I definitely would take it out. I would take it out when I would go, like, at the time, if I was interviewing, I would take it out, and I could speak and hide it. So it would sometimes take people months, years even, to recognize that I had my tongue pierced. But then I ended up having to get some dental work, and I was like, oh, it's too much going on in my mouth. So that's got to go. Something's got to give. When we come forward, we will get into more trending topics and headlines. We're going to talk about Nene Leakes and her being emotional about not having a life partner, and kind of examine that, because we spend a lot of time about, oh, you need to find a mate. Oh, we need to change your expectations. Oh, you need to do this. But finding a mate is not necessarily a guarantee to avoid that loneliness that we talk about and that people often threaten with people that are single later in life. So we're going to get into that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Nissan has a car for every driver who wants more. More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. You know, this was a conversation starter I wanted to mention earlier. There is a new single, it is a promo single between Christina Aguilera and Latto. And dare I say, it's kind of fire. Christina is definitely hitting those notes and getting her sanger on as she does. And, you know, Latto has a cute little rap. It is actually for an app called Just Eat. And the song is called Just Eat. They're dressed in like Victorian garb. And it's a cute little 1-minute clip with Christina singing and Latto rapping, and you should go check it out. Speaking of, this is just a random, there is a freestyle of Megan Thee Stallion going around where she is spitting, and she's spitting over the Regulator beat, you know, Nate Dogg and Warren G. I thought about like having it played here on the show, but I was like, nah, yeah. Plus it would be too many bleeps because there's definitely cursing on it. The difference between Megan and a lot of these other rap girls, no shade, no tea, because a lot of them can make a hot song, but they can't spit. They are not rappers. And it just reminded me of what I said and what my thing is again, I may not be there's no May to it. I'm not the target demographic for Megan, but I like her. And I'm not Andy because I'm not a 20-year-old millennial having hot girl summer. That's why I say that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, you know, you're not going to see it. My twerk game, depends on the day, right? And the drink, whatever. Just kidding. But, you know, I like her. I appreciate what she does. And hearing her spit fire off the dome, coming off of that beat, it just took me back to what I said. I want to see her with different production behind her. I think that it will help her, you know, in songs, because Megan's a great artist and she has some songs. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. But some of that stuff, I'm just like, you are wasting your bars, your talent with that production. So I just would like to see her expand out. I don't know, Andy, have you heard the freestyle?
I haven't heard the freestyle, but I'm going to go ahead and definitely tap in with it. But my question to you is, what producers do you feel would complement her style?
So I'm going to say some stuff like I might like to see her, this might seem sort of crazy, with Zaytoven, somebody like that. You know, he has a trap street song. He could still give her some commercial stuff, but I think he could give her something that plays off of her Houston Southern edge. The fact that, you know, he was working with Gucci. He was giving, you know, what was it, OJ the Juice Man and stuff like that. So I think that he could give her some interesting tracks, right? I think that, who else do I think that I would like to see her work with? I don't know. That was something that came to mind. I was listening to him on the R&B Money podcast, and it just occurred to me. I was like, well, I didn't realize, you know, I just think of him like the Gucci Man stuff in Future. I didn't realize how much R&B he had touched. I didn't realize his early origins. And so that would be someone I would like to see her work with.
What do you think about JD?
Jermaine Dupri?
Yeah. from the South.
No, he is. I'm thinking, because I'm thinking about, obviously we know JD had Lotto first, right? And I remember she was on that show with him, and I interviewed him right after that. And I even asked him, I said, fans were pushing for Lotto, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. What happened? And he was like, well, she wanted to go in a different direction. And ultimately what it was she felt like he wanted to keep her in kiddie mode, and she wanted to break out. And ultimately, as we kind of see, she wasn't wrong. She had to go through her paces, but she wasn't wrong. I don't know if, of course, musically he could come up with something, but I don't know how they would vibe. He might feel intimidated. Megan almost 6 feet. JD 5'3". That's a joke. That's just a joke.
How much of your interest in her freestyle had to do with the fact that she was rapping over a West Coast beat?
It didn't. I listen, anytime Megan has spit, like, remember that old one where she was on Funkmaster Flex spitting, and he was just like, and they're like, wow, or whatever. This was early thing. Anytime Megan spits freestyle, I tend to like it. Because, again, she can spit. Pen game, unparalleled, I feel like. If there is anybody that could kind of match up toe-to-toe with Nicki as far as spitting, I think that it would be Megan. But Nicki made, I don't know what's going on right now, better music to me, better songs. Again, there is stuff that I love from Megan. I really liked probably Tina Snow. I probably liked the Tina Snow Alias and the music that went along with that a little bit better. But I think that no matter, again, I didn't name a West Coast artist for her to work with, or producer or anything out here. I went to Zaytoven, although I guess he claims the Bay. But I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking more for her, something that's trap but can still make it a song so that Megan has hits. Let's not play. I'm not doing that. This bongo song came and went. I think people are a little tired. It's a little lazy. Like, we get P-rap and the empowerment behind it, but it is starting to feel a little redundant, a little lazy, whatever. But, you think about when WAP first came out. Come on, man.
Fire.
I mean, and then I've heard Megan spit on some other stuff, guest parts. I like her as an artist. I'm not taking away from it. I just don't like the production that comes along with it.
Okay, I can respect that.
So that's it. Fahima says, I'm older than you, and I love Megan and Cardi together. I mean, this is the thing. I'm not saying that we don't like them. We don't appreciate them. But we aren't their audience. They are not talking to us. Do you know what I'm saying? When Megan is talking about bad bees have bad days and the app, she ain't talking to us. She like, y'all should have figured it out by now. Not really, but really. Fahima mentions that Sexy Red was the headliner at the homecoming of the HBCU she teaches at. Sexy Red also, the other night, I don't know if you guys watch WWE. Andy, I believe you do, right?
You already know.
I know you do. So check this out. The other night, I saw this on a tweet. They were playing they were playing Ski Yee. My bad. Now listen, I cannot remember who the wrestler was. I'm going to find the clip and send it to Andy so he can tell you about it. But they were playing Ski Yee. She wasn't there. They were just playing it. And the audience was going crazy. And whoever the wrestler was, he, jumped on the ropes and he was like having the crowd going.
Oh, that's Jey Uso.
Okay. I don't know. Is he a good one? I don't know who he is.
He's a current tag team champion with Cody Rhodes. He's the cousin of Roman Reigns.
Okay. I know who Roman Reigns is.
So he's part of the Rock bloodline.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with Rikishi.
Yes.
He used to do the stink face or whatnot. Mm-hmm. That's the son of Rikishi.
Okay. Thank you for that WWE education right there. But they were rocking. This was not a black crowd per se. They were rocking. Loved it. Arms in the air.
I'm gonna tell you right now. It probably wasn't the song. It's probably more the wrestler, because that's his swag, In WrestleMania, they came out, Lil Uzi Vert introduced the wrestler. So,
that makes sense.
They got swag, so, they would just rock with him as he be dancing.
But here's the thing. They're introducing her to a whole nother audience.
That's
and
true.
Sexy Red was like, followed up the tweet and was like, hey, I'd love to come and be there.
Absolutely.
And I bet you we will see Sexy Red at something.
it's just probably gonna be before Cardi, because there was a lot of rumors about Cardi coming to WWE.
So I mean, I think that there's a lot that's happened with her that we don't love, but listen, her movement is spreading. Her movement is spreading. It's on it. She seems to. I like her. What appears to be at least her attitude and approach to some of this, though. She doesn't, I hope she doesn't get caught up in the female rap beef and stuff that is going around there. One thing that I heard Cardi say that I thought was interesting, and I believe her, but I just think, all of this stuff with her and Nicki is crazy. But Cardi said in an interview, she's not the type of person to make someone choose. Like, you got to go get your money. This is a business. I'm not going to tell you working with me, you can't work with that person or whatever.
That's
and I respect that.
Yeah.
It's very real. That's that Libra balance. Shout out to y'all.
Now you showing us some love, huh?
My mom was a Libra.
Okay.
I don't dislike. I note the problems.
Shout out to Mama Jill. You already know.
But yeah, so I'm curious to see what happens with Sexy Red and the spaces that she's. It's also very interesting to me that so readily, right? Some of the spaces, it just tells you kind of about the mindset where we are as a society and what people recognize. Because you think about some of the podcasts that she's been on, some of the shows. She was at that one. I can't remember which school it was. Was it Penn? I can't remember what school it was. Maybe their homecoming or something. She was on the sidelines. She was on the sidelines with the New York Jets. So she's skipping a lot of levels that some other female rappers might not have been opened up to. It's just interesting to watch and interesting to watch it play out, because also, people are saying the opposite. Usually we hear a lot of colorism or it's a light-skinned rapper and that's why they're letting her in. She's not that. She is authentically herself, but people are still calling her a plant. And they're like, oh, they want to see the worst of us. So sometimes you can not win.
Man, you killed it with that point right there about the whole industry plant thing. It is interesting considering, the platforms that she's appearing on. Like you said, she skipped over a couple things. I think that's why some people may feel like she's getting pushed, you know what I mean? But at the same time, man, like it seems like she's having fun too.
Yes.
That's the thing about it. I think she takes music serious, but at the same time, she's having fun. So I don't see her beefing with other people or anything like that. She's
out to have
there,
a good time and get some coins.
Yeah, that's it.
She was on a private jet the other night eating her Popeyes. I was like, I'm not mad, girl. Yeah. Take it on there. Forensic Accountant in the chat said his favorite all-time album is Marvin Gaye's I Want You. He discovered it at the height of his mannishness. That's a great album.
His mannishness? What you mean?
Listen, you can ask him. I don't know. I just accepted the answer and kept that thing moving. Okay. But when I think of mannish, like I remember back in the day, way back in the day, remember that group ABC, Another Bad Creation? Mm-hmm. Aisha. So I came across them like at a studio session, right? They were little kids. It was late at night, but they were mannish little boys to me. Like, your mouth, like, oh, you got a lot of confidence. You're like 12. What are you talking about? So when I think about mannish, that's what I think about. But I don't know. Forensic Accountant, did you discover this in your youth? Did you discover it at a different time in your life? What you mean? Let us know in the chat. We like that. Oh my God. Anyway, hip hop is taking an interesting turn right now. I can't wait to see kind of how all of this sort of develops out. What happens next? Because look, we're in a space and we are in a place.
I will also say this.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are getting to a point where there might be a reset.
I think so too.
Considering Drake also taking a break. This
and taking a hit.
You know what I mean? So this is, he's the lead guy right now.
He is.
So if he's going to take a reset, I think the whole game is going to take a reset.
And I think it's needed. I think that, again, love the women's empowerment, right? Not going to say anything. I love that women are topping the charts. I like to see it. They're making party music. They're making stuff that we want to come to the floor. There are, some of the... Why are you looking like that?
Because I got another question.
Okay,
a more
ahead.
serious question,
okay.
right? So the women are dominating the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful thing. They're at the forefront of a male-dominated game, or what used to be a male-dominated game, right?
Right.
Would you trade this women's empowerment movement over the female hip-hop that you grew up with? And considering that they weren't at the forefront, would you want it to go back to that?
I think that you can't. I think everything evolves in a way that it should, right? If you look across the board, you look at women's sports. We just talked about the ratings for the WNBA, what's happening with the, women's soccer league. You look at really outside of, maybe not Bad Bunny, but you look at the top women in pop. I mean, the top people in pop music even. It's Beyonce and Taylor Swift. So I think right now we're in a very woman-esque, woman-forward era. And within some of that, sometimes there's going to be an overarching theme as far as sexuality. Some are going to take control of it in different ways. Some are going to use it in different ways. So I'm looking forward to a reset of sorts. That doesn't mean that I want P-Rap to completely disappear and go away, but I would like to just have some different options. That's all. We had different options presented to us, and I think that this generation can benefit from that too. And you can find your person or your mix, like there are some things that you could say, oh, Little Kim and Foxy, for those that don't know all the way, could say, oh, Little Kim and Foxy are the same. But if you really know, that there's slight differences. Foxy was a battle rapper. She could get in there with the guys and spit, come at you off the dome. Kim was a little different. They both were in the high fashion thing, but Kim took a different road and approach with it and how she utilized it in her raps. Foxy did too, but then Foxy got more in her Trini bag. And so I just think that they have options right now, but not all of them are popping off. And that goes back to my point earlier. Everybody's not going to be a superstar. It's not realistic. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that they aren't hidden. It doesn't mean that they aren't a great artist. It doesn't mean that they aren't putting out fantastic music. But everybody can't be a superstar. So I think that this period is what it is, and it is for the audience that it is supposed to be for. And that they will find their way. I mean, there are people that thought Little Kim and Foxy were the downfall of society. And some might say, well, look where we are. But I think there was a lot of empowerment that evolved out of it too. It's going to be like that with a lot of things. There's going to be some bad that comes along with it. It's how you shape it and change it. So we'll just have to see. Listen. On the other side, we're going to get into Nene Leakes and her comments about wanting companionship and see if we can break down a little bit about, so what's next? What should women do? Since y'all got all the answers with your degrees and stuff. Anyway, that's from Precious, if you didn't know. All right. Thank you for locking in to RSVP with Jill Munroe. Of course, on the other side, news and sports. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
It was never happened for me. Oh, but I can't get it. Oh, baby. Roller coaster. Got me going up and down. Never good for me.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The former sheriff of Granville County in North Carolina has pleaded guilty to additional charges of corruption. During an arraignment hearing, former Sheriff Brendell Wilkins, who was already serving time in prison for falsifying training records, pleaded guilty to 4 felony violations and 2 misdemeanors, including an alleged plot in 2014 to have a black sheriff's deputy killed. As part of the plea agreement, Wilkins will have about 6 months added to his current 18-month sentence. The Missouri Supreme Court has agreed to hear a discrimination case involving workers at a now closed Harley-Davidson plant in North Kansas City. The lawsuit was filed 8 days before the plant closed 4 years ago and alleges that mostly black workers who were employed by a contractor were treated unfairly by people who worked directly for Harley-Davidson. The plaintiffs argued that the vast majority of employees were white and created a hostile work environment for the contract workers, most of whom were black. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your beer. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it, yeah, roll it, yeah, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, everything okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Honey. Hey, I'm here for you. Tell me about school today.
When kids can't find the right words, music can help them sound it out. Talk to the kids in your life about their emotional well-being. Find tools and resources at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Only 1 in 5 people with autism are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do. Like, what about a programmer?
That's a job for someone with autism.
How about a healthcare worker?
Yep, that is too. People with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
What about a ranch hand?
To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose America.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. Let's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I don't know why I like it. I just do.
The voice. Come on, man. Shout out to Andy, always keeping us lit. You were locked into hour 2 of... I just wanted to hit that part. You were locked into hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm a blast at karaoke. Can you imagine? I know that you know that, right? Thank you guys for rocking with us, VIPs. This is the show where we hit all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. So I've been talking about this Nene Leakes story, and she revealed, she has a YouTube channel, how, she's a little lonely. She thinks about the basic things like, who am I going to put on my emergency contact form? Listen, that is a real thought. That is a reality thing, right? When you think about couplings. And of course, people always want to scare, usually women, but sometimes men, with, oh my God, you're going to get old. You're going to be alone. Nobody's going to be there to take care of you. Who's going to love you? Who's going to love you? Who's going to love you? And listen, Nene Leakes was married for years, right? A solid husband, a solid relationship. They broke up for a little bit, came back together. And unfortunately, her husband passed away. But it's something that I never hear in the conversation when it's talked about. You need to be with someone. You need to, and what's going to happen to you, and da-da-da-da. Someone inevitably will pass away first in a relationship. And then what are you left with? Right? You're left with the other relationships that you held together. And usually those are the ones that are going to see, man or woman, see you through. So anyway, let's hear Lene's comments, and then we'll get more on that on the other side.
Who is my emergency contact, or who is it that I will want somebody to call in case something happens? And in any other case, I would have them to reach out to my husband. And so I had to start thinking about who my emergency contact would be. And my emergency contact, I put my son down as my emergency contact. In the past, I have listed my husband as my emergency contact. So I start thinking and saying, maybe I should just marry.
So, look, we've had this conversation, right? People lowering their standards or just looking for thing or whatever. What do you do in those instances? What is the advice? Because we spend a great deal of time projecting on what is going to happen to these single people in their older age. But nobody ever talks about that you're still going to need community. You're still going to need, the type of love that comes with friendship or family if you are lucky enough to have it. Because, again, that till death do us part, for better or worse. You don't know what that worse could be. And let me tell you what I can tell you, what the studies will show, is that for women, when they get sick, terminally, things like that, a lot of times their husbands leave them. And it ends up being on their children, if they have them, or their friends and family. The men, generally, and this is across race, things of that nature, are not supporting and standing up for women when those situations happen. You can't plan for it. You don't know. You don't know what would happen in those situations. But these are things to think about when you're telling people, just go and get with somebody, just be with somebody, and don't look, the latter part of life brings a different set of questions and circumstances that I don't think that we always talk about, that we always seem to want to attribute marriage as a quick fix for. And it's not always going to be there. Urban Spinster says, there are no guarantees in life. People will say you should have kids so they can take care of you. That's not promised. It absolutely is not promised. You don't know what could happen. No one wants their child to pass away before them, but you don't know what life can bring you. You don't know that your child is the type of person that'll be responsible, that you want caring for you in your old age. You might be like, oh my God, I got to take my chances with the home with my kid. No shade, no tea. I'm just saying you aren't guaranteed anything. But that's why I feel like people writing so hard. I understand the value of marriage and what marriage can do for us as a Black community, and what it does overall for the family, and what it sets up, and what it does from a financial standpoint, and what it does for balance and all of that nature. But I also think trying to force people in general into situations, they forget stuff gets real, and you got to be there through that, not just to look cute because you're an Instagram match on whatever, right? So that's my quick Nene Leakes thought, just to tie it in a bow, because we've been talking a lot of relationship stuff, a lot of advice, a lot of thoughts lately, and just wanted to add in a different perspective, because we do that sometimes. So, Las Vegas. We always talk about Vegas. Of course, I think that Vegas is the next live sports capital of the world. People agree with me. LeBron James, he wants to own, and we've talked about this, it's kind of expected that when the NBA expands to another franchise, we know that it's going to be Vegas, and we know that LeBron James would like to be an owner. He talked about it recently. He was at the Aces game on Sunday, courtside, and he shared that he said that it's not just about wanting to own an NBA team in Las Vegas. It's not just any team, any city. He is targeting Vegas for a reason, for the things that I've talked about: the Raiders, the Golden Knights, the WNBA, F1 and their races, NBA All-Star Weekend, Summer League, which has become a whole different thing, a whole nother season of the NBA. So he says he thinks adding an NBA franchise here would just add to the momentum that's already there, and he hopes to be part of it, right? So we got a couple of years, in theory, we think, before LeBron retires, and we'll see what happens. But there's another NBA player who already lives in Vegas. I didn't realize this person lived in Vegas, but they also want an NBA team and want to take ownership. But they don't want to join in with any existing ownership group. They would like to form their own. And that, of course, is Shaquille O'Neal. Now, we know Shaq has his hands in almost every business known to mankind. At least it feels that way. He owned some partial shares in the Sacramento Kings a few years back. He sold them, I think, in maybe 2021. So now he is teamless, but it's expected that, expansion talks could open up for the new team as soon as 2025. That's when the next media rights deals are done. So they'll see what kind of money they're dealing with and what's happening. The NBA has also set up shop there. So Shaq has been living there for a couple of years. He sees the expansion of the city. We know he's a big DJ. He does residencies. His son, Miles, his oldest son, Miles, also has followed in his footsteps in that. So could be a battle. The battle for Las Vegas. When we come forward, more trending topics and headlines, you are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Joey from Vermont a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
A sense of peace, a place to kick back and put down roots. A lasting legacy. However you define home, at City National, we're committed to helping you get there with our City National Ladder Up Home Loan Program. Find the full benefits at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National Bank, here for our clients and communities. Ladder Up program is available only in select areas. Terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS ID 536994.
The Green Foundation, key health influencer, empowering our Black communities through action. The Green Foundation advocates for affordable health care, accessibility, and knows the importance of culturally relatable health care. Regardless of income, we believe it is a right for optimum health. The Green Foundation has been at the forefront for 25 years, dedicated solely to promoting prevention through early detection, annual screenings, and nutrition. We know you because we are you. Our hand-holding approach supports you and your family to receive your right to be treated fairly and receiving quality healthcare services. We want you and your family to know COVID-19 was devastating to our families and to our wallet. We can build back better by understanding prevention, wearing your mask, washing your hands, social distancing, and understanding the impact of long COVID. Get the care you deserve. Take advantage of your privileges. Contact us, info@thegreenfoundation.net. info@thegreenfoundation.net.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank, any member FDIC.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. VIPs, welcome back. So listen, as I told you, coming up in the third hour, I'm going to have an interview with Tasha of Official Wags Unfiltered. It's a popular Instagram page that chronicles all the comings and goings of several wives of professional athletes and gets into stories. And one of the stories that we discuss later in our interview actually has some more texture to it, and I briefly mentioned it last night. So I wanted to bring some clarity to it here. There's a player named Miles Bridges. He plays for the Charlotte Hornets. There have been several arrests, suspensions regarding domestic violence. I actually talk about his case and some of the things involving him, and it is his children's mother. They just had their third child in May after a very volatile relationship. So Tasha and I discussed that and some of the things that she knows in relation to this. But a criminal summons was issued for him, we mentioned this yesterday, because he violated a protective order. And they said that it was something old initially, but more information has come out. And so this event actually happened on Tuesday, and it was within a custody exchange. And what he did, he allegedly threw billiard balls. You know what that is? That's the pool balls, right? The 8-ball, the cue ball, all of that, at his ex-car, right? Damaging her windshield, and he threatened to withhold child support and take everything from her. He's also facing a child abuse charge because their children were in the car when the window broke from the billiard balls. So that is according to the criminal summons. They have had a lot of back and forth, a lot of tit for tat. Andy, do you think it's time for the Hornets to cut him? Because again, as I mentioned, sometimes people give people the space to work things out, and you hope you see the change. But at this point, with what we just saw with Kai Jones and them, and he asked to be released, but obviously wasn't a lot happening there. There's some other stuff. The Hornets seem to be in a little bit of flux. We know they have a new ownership group. Is he worth the trouble?
And this is recent.
Tuesday. They're in training camp. Considering the other ones that have happened in the past, they got a lot of stuff, and I'm not gonna put it all on him just from some of the things, but at some point, I don't know. They got apps to help you do exchanges. You got homies, friends, court-ordered things. What do you think?
It's they probably should cut bait. Unfortunately, I don't know what his contract situation is like there, but I don't know. Maybe another suspension. I mean, he was suspended for the whole season, or was it half of the season?
Something. It was pretty significant.
Yeah. That's like strike number 2, or maybe even strike number 3, considering the crime. Yeah, they might as well just cut bait, because it'll be bad PR for Charlotte all throughout the season. Considering him, considering Kai Jones, I think it'll be best maybe for a culture change in Charlotte. I mean, Jordan is not there anymore,
right?
So I don't know, who's.
I didn't
who's
realize Mitch Kupchak was the GM there.
He is the GM.
Yep.
Yeah, he probably needs to put his foot down.
So I mean, I don't, not wishing for anyone to lose their job. I may have been frustrated. Not advocating for that approach at all. Your kids were in the car. And it's not getting through, obviously, because to me, at what point does preservation of self not kick in after these punishments?
You know what? I think, and I don't know if the Hornets have done anything about this, but they need to give him some help.
Yeah.
Let's not throw him away. I'll take that back. Let's not cut him. Give him a suspension, however which way they see fit. But throughout that suspension, give him some true health.
Anger management, some type of therapy.
Something like that. And
so let me ask you this, because that comes up a lot, right? And I'm torn. Do you think that is your employer's responsibility?
For anger management?
Yeah, for those things. Do you think that is they're saying, hey, we need to guide you in this, or hey, you need to do this if you want to continue to be employed here, as far as stuff like that?
Low key, I think that should be a league thing now.
I mean, they do. Here's the thing. They have stepped up their mental health services. Remember, we had Derek Anderson on maybe a month or so ago, and he is a part of the team with the NBA Players Association, their mental health team. They have like different players that they dispatch. They have members of the team, so they have resources for them. I would never say, right, especially currently, that there's a period of time when these leagues did not take care of their players in that fashion.
Correct.
I would not say that time is currently.
Right.
They give them a lot of resources, a lot of tools for them to take advantage of. You have to be willing, though.
I think they probably got to just make it mandatory. You know how they say after the game, like, you have to speak to the media or else you'll get fined? You probably got to mandate certain things like that.
Would you want that mandated? I agree. They go through their rookie transition. They have check-ins, I think, at the start of every season. But would you want to be employed by someone that said, hey, you got to go through some type of mental assessment or some type of mental therapy to check things out?
I think at this point, working here at KBLA for the past couple of years or so, I would have no problem doing so.
Okay.
Because considering our people, man, therapy is needed.
Anger
management is needed.
It is.
We come from a lot of trauma. So it probably would be beneficial for us if we had a situation that it was mandated. I mean, hell, you're playing basketball. You're playing a game that I'm assuming you love. What's
the problem?
What's 30 minutes of sitting down with a therapist to essentially help you?
Some people may not want to get in touch with themselves. I don't know.
That stigma is being broken down.
It is.
It's not about being crazy. You know what I'm saying? We've been through a lot.
We need to blow off some steam just to vent sometimes.
And the reality is that these cats coming into the league, they're still kids. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. These cats are kids, and you guys are going ahead giving them contracts that Charles Barkley and them wasn't even getting at the time. So I could only imagine what that type of money will do to you as a youth coming into the league.
Money, access. Think about the cell phones, what they have access to. 3 times as many women, 3 times as much trouble. Like, seriously, Instagram is dial and deliver. You could get whatever flavor you like right there. And most of them are going to say, yeah. Tony Yayo says with the recent Kevin Porter Jr. situation, the NBA needs to intervene.
Facts.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like they are. But you look at it, it's a cultural thing. Do you know who Mikey Williams is? He was the top prospect. I think he played in Overtime Elite, whatever. Got into some trouble a couple of months ago because he pulled out a gun on what he said. Some people that were, showed up to him. Look, he's facing real time.
And that's sad. He probably was just trying to protect himself, considering who he is.
Right. Maybe. Or was he acting overzealous? Could he have benefited from talking to someone? I'm not really sure. We'll see as the details come out. But he is facing some serious time. His prospects, as far as taking his talents to the league, probably a wrap. And all of that time, energy, effort, and highlights they put into it. And, look. We have to see what happened. Tony Yayo mentions Instagram is what got Deshaun Watson in trouble. Deshaun Watson got in trouble because he was looking for rub, tug massages. I'm not talking about dating. They're already, listen, if you think they're not, again, listen to my interview the next hour with Tasha from Official Wags Unfiltered. A lot of revealing things. She said that a lot of the athletes reach out and talk to her. Look for her for advice,
What's a lot, though?
What I will say this is what you guys probably don't know about me is I ran a sports and entertainment blog, Jackson Stiletto Jill, launched in 2009. It was one of the early ones. I broke some stories, Paul George and his child's mother, that story. That started from my site.
Okay, pop your collar, Jill.
Pop my collar. So there's like a couple of things when Rihanna dissed J.R. Smith and was like, oh, no, we not really think. It's because I found that. So, there's a lot of things. So I started off in that era, and it's true. And I talk about it in this interview. Athletes attempted to pay me to take stories down. Women would also reach out to me, give me tea on themselves, give me tea on their friends or their teammates. You learn a lot. So let me tell you, if you think that Instagram is not moving as a dating app, money-making facility or whatever for some of these professional athletes, you are being naive. But we'll get into that in that interview later. Look, I love our conversations. And so on the other side, I know y'all might be a little tired, but I'm going to keep coming with my facts to support the fact that Jada and Will told you guys what was up and you weren't accepting of it and weren't paying attention. I'm also going to prove my point that I said last night. Jada was not talking about a romantic relationship with Pac, and everybody continues to ask her about Pac, so she answers. And it has never moved off of the friendship thing, regardless as to what people think. We'll talk about that on the other side. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580 News and Sports. That's what's up next.